Well, this is the latest episode of Baseball as Personal History, Volume 5. We're the Questers 2. I'm John,
Hey,
and that's Kaylin. And in this episode, we're actually going to be showing you a little bit more sights than actually baseball stadiums. In this episode, we're going to show you the
the original Field of Dreams, the Negro Leagues Museum, Old Kauffman, and Cooper.
enjoy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually, I think, our first site, a baseball site, I should say, that we actually visited because we were living in Minnesota at the time. And this is actually the Field of Dreams site,
Where they actually made the movie too.
where it was early in the year, I'd say maybe March or April. You can see that there's no corn, and we've been there two or three times since, and each time it's been sort of either early in the year or too late in the year. And but As a baseball fan, the Field of Dreams site is probably one of those pilgrimage you just have to take if you're actually taking some teams in the Midwest, especially in Iowa, like the Iowa Cubs, Quad City River Bandits. I definitely take a little side trip over to Dyersville and see the site. There isn't, bring a glove, play catch. Ken and I played a small game of catch while we were there. There's a few other, things there for you to see. The house is original and stuff, but they give very selective tours on the house. Because someone does live there or did. I don't know. Since we took this picture, the site has been sold. And let me say something is at one time, the site used to be in two different farm lots. So there was always a fight to see who, what, when, where, how. I do not know if the current owners own both the whole site, but I do know that um, the site is open to the public. I don't know if they charge an admission fee just to even get on the grounds anymore. But when we went, there was no admission fee or anything like that. Just go on the grounds, go play catch. So it's definitely worth your time if you're in Iowa.
If you
Or
live in Iowa, then definitely go to this.
But if you're, I wouldn't draw. I wouldn't go. I mean, Chicago's probably, if you're in Chicago, Minneapolis, I would say those are probably Omaha, definitely. If you're in those major metropolises, I would definitely try to make a trip out there. But I mean, if you're in Los Angeles, I wouldn't drive just specifically to see the site. Because it's so far, it's farms. So, it's located on a farm. So you have to understand that Dyersville is probably a little bleep on the map when you get there. So definitely, it's worth your time if you're in the area. Now, the second one that we did, another site, we did it later in the year, I believe 2005. The Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City, Missouri, is absolutely one of those things that you need to see. I would definitely recommend if you're a baseball fanatic.
Definitely go to this Negro League
Yes,
site.
because I actually think it's better than Cooperstown. Cooperstown is nice, and we saw Cooperstown a few years later. But the way that the Negro Leagues Museum is set up is much more fan friendly, many more artifacts, etc., and tells a story, gives a background on each of the players and whatnot. And also, too, what's good about the museum is that quite a few of the former Negro League players do just hang out the site and sign autographs, etc. When we were there, Buck O'Neill was still alive, And unfortunately, is that we did not get to see him. He was upstairs in a meeting at the time we were there. So, that's just one of the missed opportunities I wish I had back. But it's definitely worth your time to make this pilgrimage out to Kansas City. And while you're out in Kansas City, Satchel Paige is buried out in Kansas City as well, and also too is the Royals are out there, and that's our next little stadium was Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Um, Kauffman Stadium is actually I consider probably one of the best architectural stadiums in Major League Baseball. It's an absolutely beautiful stadium. And this is before the remodel. So I hear that the remodel is actually makes it more impressive. Uh, you know
But the
that.
but the remodel of the Kauffman is a little bit bigger than the time we were actually there.
So yeah, and they have more seats now and stuff like that. We're planning this summer 2012, to go back to Kauffman to see the remodel. Um, but the only thing that depressing about Kauffman was the food. Food was awful. I couldn't at that time. It was not up to par to any means, or it was just really bad. I didn't feel that it was well worth the food itself was any it was just plain bad. I mean, in fact, I think I got a hot dog and I had one bite and threw it away. So, and I very rarely do that because I feel I'm not going to waste my food or waste my money on the food. So, but yeah, definitely take a look at Kaufman. The only thing bad about Kaufman is you're looking and if you can overlook the freeway in the outfield, it's a beautiful stadium, and that's one thing
Plus, it has a little waterfall center.
yeah, and the waterfall and the way that it's designed is actually quite impressive. So, um, and it's part of the major complex in Kansas City that includes the Arrowhead Stadium. So there's plenty of parking. You shouldn't have any problems, and tickets are relatively inexpensive. I mean, if the Yankees or Rangers are in town, the tickets are going to be more expensive. But if you're, like the Mariners or like the Oakland A's, I mean, you could easily get, within what, $50, $60 face value, in 5 or 6 rows from the dugout. You could easily have that in Kansas City. Um, Next one uh, was
Las Vegas 51s
yes,
and
I'll tell you.
Cashman Stadium.
Yes, the Las Vegas 51s and their famous alien logo. Um, it's Las Vegas, so you're not generally going to go to Las Vegas for uh, baseball. But as for a stadium, from what I remember of it, I just wasn't all that impressed. I felt like, what does this stadium have to offer? I mean, and I thought the tickets were sort of expensive. I mean, when we went to the game, I think there was maybe 100 people there to see the 51s play. So, it wasn't all that impressive. I personally think that it's Las Vegas. People aren't interested in baseball. Move the team somewhere else. I think Portland needs a team now, and we're in the summer of 2012. I think Portland needs a team to go back there. I don't know why they decided to move
The old
the
Beavers.
Beavers out of their stadium. Their stadium was completely functional. Um, but it is what it is. It's Las Vegas, so most people will skip going to see a baseball game to go to the casinos and all this other stuff and see the free shows at night, the water fountains and the TI and all that other stuff. Um, Next stadium actually is the one we probably spent a lot of time with the year and a half we were living in Columbus, Ohio, and this is Cooper Stadium in as you guessed it,
Columbus, Ohio.
in Columbus, Ohio. Um, the stadium is no longer operating as a baseball stadium. In fact, it's pretty vacant, and the city of Columbus is still haggling over who, what, when, where, how on it. And I believe it's most of it's still standing. Um, the stadium was functional, but it did show its age towards the end. Um, and it was completely enjoyable to see a game there. I mean, I'm more, I'm more of a baseball fan that I think that the fans themselves need to have good access to the field. I mean, I'm not saying jump on the field and all this other stuff, but I'm saying, have it more of a family, have the whole everybody, including the players, as sort of like part of the family. And I think that's, as I said in the last episode, I think the Yankees are what is wrong with Major League Baseball. And Cooper was what was good about baseball. I mean, you can go down to the dugout and the players would talk to you and manager would talk to you, etc. And it was a good place to see a game. Uh, and now they have their new stadium, Huntington Park, which is a little bit about a mile and a half or so, maybe 2 miles away from their old stadium. And we did have we well, sorry, not did have have gone there in the summer of 2012. So you'll be seeing the review of their new stadium in an upcoming episode. But if Cooper, like I said, Cooper's no longer operational. So other than the memories that we have of going there, there really isn't much to see. All right. Stay tuned for more episodes. Baseball as Personal History Volume 6 will be coming up shortly. I'm John,
Hey.
and that's Kaylin, and we're the Questers too.